Welcome back to another Colmeyer Ski video. Today's video is a little bit different from my other ones. Today, I had the opportunity to have an interview with a U.S. cross-country professional skier, Zach Ketterson. So, in a different location, I'm in the dorm at University of Wisconsin Green Bay. So, this is my new home for the next couple months and for the next couple of years. So, there will be some more training and racing videos with the team coming up soon. But for now, I had the opportunity to speak with Zach, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So here's the interview. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody. I am here with a Minnesota Nordic State title holder, NMU alum, and now professional U.S. skier, Zach Ketterson. What's going on?
Hey guys, how's it going, Cole Myrick vlog fans? I'm one of them, so was really excited when Cole asked me to, come on the vlog and do a little interview convo today. Yeah, things are good. I'm in Park City, Utah, on a little 3-week altitude camp, 1 weekend, and things are good.
Let's go. All right, so you're in Utah, as you just said. What has your training looked like recently? Like, are you in a bit? I mean, obviously you're at altitude, but are you in now more volume, intensity? What's your training looking like?
Yeah, so when I'm at altitude, it's usually pretty like volume and L3 focused, just because your body is dealing with so much just being, even just existing up here, like being at 7,000 feet. There's so much going on with like your body trying to acclimate to the thin air. And then also for those who don't know, like I came straight from Norway over here, so was also adjusting to the time change in addition to the altitude. So 8-hour time change plus coming up to 7,000 feet meant that the first week was super chill. Like I would say the first 3 or 4 days, I was just getting out for a couple hours a day and for sure doing no intensity and skiing really slow. But these last 2 weeks, it's going to be probably like 20 to 23 hours a week and then like 2 L3 sessions. So, nothing like crazy. Like I'm not the guy to come up here and do like a 30-hour week or anything, because I feel like the altitude is just like, you kind of have to keep the altitude in mind. And if you do 30 hours, like with the altitude, I think it becomes too much. But it's kind of a volume and intensity, volume and L3 focus. And then I'll go back down to sea level, spend like 3 weeks in Minneapolis and do a more like, race pace sort of sprint focused block, hopefully using the like altitude boost.
Sweet. So, are you going back to Norway? Or are you stick in the U.S. for the fall?
Yeah. So I was in Norway all summer, and then we came straight here basically. But yeah, I kind of just like wanted to have some time at home, and it felt like a really good period to do it right after this camp, because I want to do some like really good intensity sessions, so I'll be able to like train with Team Berkey, use like the roller ski treadmill that we have in Minneapolis, go to like Cable if I want to do some roller ski track stuff, and then also going to go to like a really good friend of mine's wedding. And I don't actually think we're going to go to Norway actually after that. We're going to fly straight to Livigno, which is in Italy. And that's just like another altitude camp, and hopefully getting on snow too. Because they'll lay out like a 1 or 2 kilometer little artificial snow ribbon there. And then the idea is like by having Park City and then Livigno only like 3 weeks apart, you sort of like chain those camps together, so that like the altitude benefit that I gain in Park City isn't totally worn off by the time I get to Livigno, and I can sort of like pick up things a little bit faster there, and then hopefully have like a mega boost coming into Ruka and stuff.
Sweet. Okay, so got some questions here just so we can have a little guided conversation. So you're originally from Minneapolis. So like, where are you from in Minneapolis, and how did you really get into skiing?
Yeah, so I'm from Bloomington, Minnesota specifically, which is, if you've heard of the Mall of America, it's like the home of the Mall of America. So grew up like 15 minutes away from there, skied at a local park called Highland all the time, which growing up didn't have any snowmaking, but my like last years in high school became one of the like more popular places for people to ski, along with Theodore Wirth. So I would say like that was one of the big reasons that I got into cross country skiing, was just like growing up so close to Highland, it's called. But the main reason really is just that my brother joined the high school team. And at the time, like I was super into the more traditional American sports like football, basketball, baseball, and was like, when I was a kid, my dream was to like make the NFL, play for the Vikings, be a running back, like, pretty standard like American kid. But for whatever reason, even though basketball is like one of my favorite sports now, I never actually played like organized basketball in the winter, so I didn't have like a winter sport. So then when my brother joined the high school Nordic ski team when he was in ninth grade, he just like had so much fun and spoke so highly of it. And, me looking up to him so much when I was in seventh grade and was like eligible to join the team, I just figured, I'll give it a try. And I didn't actually like it that much at first, especially training. Like I absolutely hated training, but like the racing I thought was so fun, just being competitive, and like 5K I think was such a fun distance that we did in high school. And for whatever reason, it was like the sport that I would say I most naturally like had talent in. Unfortunately, it wasn't like basketball or football, but yeah, I think like initially I just kept doing it because I was good at it, and then just like got a lot of cool opportunities along the way, like racing at junior nationals. I think brought out a lot of new motivation, and then being able to train in the Twin Cities with LNR and, make a bunch of new friends there and meet a ton of cool coaches and stuff. And then eventually, like making World Juniors, skiing in college, and then now being able to ski World Cup and stuff. It's sort of just one thing led to another, I guess, from when I joined the high school team.
That's so cool. So post high school junior skiing, what did your career look like? Like, what did your timeline look like?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people take like gap years and stuff, but I was lucky enough to be in pretty close contact with NMU basically like my whole junior and senior year, and was always like pretty sure. I would say like from the time I started doing well in high school was like pretty sure that NMU was where I wanted to ski. And it felt really natural for me because they had all these really good Midwest guys like Ian Tortilla, Kyle Bratrud, Adam Martin, Leo Hip, like a lot of guys who have either won the Minnesota State meet or are from Minnesota and Wisconsin and went to junior nationals and did super well. So like seeing that all of those guys went to NMU and just how much better they got there too, always had it like really on my radar. And so I basically just, yeah, they had a coach also named Sten Fjellheim, who was this pretty legendary Norwegian coach who had been coaching the team for, I think, like 40 plus years by the time I got there. So, yeah, for me, I felt like NMU was always like the obvious choice. And I mean, yeah, I feel like I just graduated high school, had a normal summer of training, and then just like picked up right where I left off at NMU with like a bunch of teammates who I was already friends with and a coach that I had been talking to a lot already. So for me, it was a super sweet setup.
Nice. So making that jump from junior high school level racing, like J&Qs, junior nationals, to like the collegiate level, how did you smoothly transition to that jump? Did you have any like hiccup years where you maybe were sick or you had a down year, or how'd you transition that?
Yeah, for my freshman year was actually pretty bad, I would say. So junior national or U.S. nationals were in, believe it or not, Park City that year, like in Soldier Hollow, and I came in like as the number one ranked junior from the previous year. So like junior mass start race, I had like the number one bib starting at the front of the mass start pack, and I think my best race that week was maybe like top 50. So like I'm coming into that week thinking like, oh yeah, dude, I'm like for sure gonna make junior, World Juniors, and that was actually the year that World Juniors was gonna be in Utah. So like I was so hyped up for like, yeah, dude, home World Juniors on U.S. soil, like let's go for a medal, like all this, and then I just had like the worst U.S. nationals, and unfortunately, like the season kind of like continued that trend. Like I had a few good races here and there, like the first race of the season was decent, and then like I had a couple decent races in like February, but yeah, for the most part I would say I was like on average probably worse than the year before, which was really a hard thing to like grapple with when you're coming to college and having this new teammates and this new coach and thinking you're going to be like so good right from the get-go. And so I think that was a really tough year, like tough pill to swallow, but I feel like I also learned so much that year about like why I, struggled. Like I for sure, I think just increased my training load way too much, like coming straight from like high school, not doing a ton of hours, and then all of a sudden like just attaching myself at the hip to like the best skiers on the NMU team and just doing exactly what they did. Um, yeah, I think I just ended up cooking myself a little bit. And then I would also say my diet wasn't super ideal. Like I went from my mom making all my food to like all of a sudden now I have unlimited dining hall access, and I just like ate way too much like Lucky Charms and pizza. And like I think there's a like junk food in general, there's like nothing really wrong with it, but if it's the only thing you eat, which is like what I was doing, like it became a bit of a problem. So I think I had a little bit of the like classic freshman 15 as well. um and then also I was supposed to room with one of my best friends, Leo Hip, but I completely dropped the ball in the summer on like the rooming. Like there was all this paperwork you had to sign up to like finalize the rooming situation, and I just like let it cook in my inbox and never did anything with it. So then when I rolled up, like I had a random roommate and Leo had a random roommate, and we were like, he was so pissed because like he obviously did all the paperwork and stuff, so it was completely my fault. But like my roommate ended up being this dude who was like 4 years older than me, and he like did nothing but like play League of Legends all freaking night. So like it was actually so hard to sleep because like every single night this dude would just be on his computer wearing like a headset in like a group chat, like playing League of Legends until like 2 3 a.m. And I would just always be like, bro, like do you think you could like be a little quieter, maybe go to bed, like I have like a time trial tomorrow morning. And he just like did not get it, obviously, which like fair enough to him. Like he's just trying to have his like regular college experience. But like I would say between the diet, the like overtraining, and the just lack of recovery situation because of the roommate was like a bit of a recipe for disaster. But I think like having that experience, I came into my sophomore year like with a really good game plan of like, here's what went wrong and here's the things I need to fix if I don't want that to happen again. And my sophomore year ended up being super good, and I feel like pretty much all the other, more or less the other, like my remaining 3 years at NMU were all super good.
Yeah, that's my roommate and I have been down to the dining hall very often, and we're trying to like we'll get like whatever like entree they have going, and then we're like, okay, to balance it out, we'll get a salad. This will cancel it out. Like I don't know, maybe like it's gotta help, but yeah, we I feel that. So what has it been like racing on the World Cup and like racing home World Cup in Minneapolis and even like the World Championships this last season?
Yeah, I mean, World Cup is super fun. I think I've been pretty lucky that the men's team is like all a bunch of like younger guys with super good energy who like we're all just really good friends too. So I think like being from the US, obviously, like we don't get to go home really in between race weekends like all those other European countries do. So given that I'm basically like living with my teammates all year round, like it helps that those guys are super good buddies. But yeah, it's tough. It's like you're racing against the best people in the world. So like so a lot of times you feel like you're a really bad skier because, if I race a super tour or a, college race or something and I like win that race, you feel like so good about yourself and feel that your training is working and that, it's a really rewarding and fulfilling experience. But like for me in past years, like a good day on the World Cup is maybe like 20th place or 30th place. So it's a bit of an adjustment to go from like racing for the win to like just trying to, do your best. So I feel like I've had to like really reframe the way that I, approach my goals and be a little bit more like process oriented and just trying to like improve my own results and compare myself to my like former self rather than always comparing myself to like the other World Cup skiers, because I feel like that's just a dangerous recipe for like always feeling like you're terrible at skiing. But I feel like every year I've learned a lot about, how to live life on the road better, how to like recover better and optimize all these little things that really matter when you're, racing 3 races a week for weeks on end. But I think, yeah, it's like definitely brutal at times to be away from home for so long and to like be away from my wife and my family for so many months of the year. But like, it motivates me so much. And it like, for sure in the summer and fall, it's what gets me out the door is like trying to solve that puzzle and trying to show up to Ruka as fit as I possibly can be. So, the motivation is still really high. And yeah, it's not super easy. It's pretty cutthroat, but it's like there's nothing I'd rather be doing, at least at the moment.
Yeah, so like the World Cup, like in the U.S., obviously you have your first couple Super Tour races in December. Then there's U.S. Nationals in usually the beginning of January, and then for juniors or collegiate athletes, there's NCAA Nationals and Junior Nationals at the end of March. So like for a junior skier, you have to peak twice, but like on the World Cup, you have to like be
Right.
peaking every weekend. How do you like keep that, like I have to stay fit but I'm still training, but you're like, I don't know if you respond well to tapering, so you're
No,
constantly
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard because I feel like my whole junior and college careers was like the December races don't really matter even because like yeah, in when I was a junior, it was always like state meet and junior nationals are the biggest goal, and those are like middle of February and start of March. So like sometimes it was like if you were in super good shape at the end of November or in the middle of December, it was almost like, man, am I going to be able to like hold this until March? But like, yeah, I mean, same in college. NCAA's were like middle of March. So like the Norwegians on our team at NMU were always like, if you were super good in December, they were like, ooh, I don't know, dude. Like you're gonna probably be really bad at NCAA. So um, it's definitely a big adjustment to now where like our first races in Ruka are, yeah, like November 27th. And
Yeah.
especially this year being like an Olympic year, like if you want to make the Olympic team, you got to roll up November 27th and be like firing on all cylinders because you know damn well like the dudes from Norway and the dudes from all these other European countries who like also want to make the Olympic team, like that might be their one shot, one opportunity. So like there's no easing into the season like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll figure things out by February. Like it's a big adjustment. And I think to be completely honest, is something that I haven't totally figured out yet. Like I think a lot of people's plan is like, okay, screw it, I'm just gonna try to like peak in November, December, and then just like see where that leaves me, try to pick up the pieces. But like I think the like solution that a lot of the best skiers have done, like Claybo and those ones who are just so dominant, is that they are just so good that they can sort of just train through the races a little bit. So, I mean, it's not like they're doing crazy volume, but I would say that they're probably like maintaining a pretty high, like load of training in terms of just like hours per week all the way through November, December, January, and like it's hard to believe when you watch Claybo and Ruka and he's just destroying everybody, but like he's not at his best there by any means. Like he's training through a decent training load. And when he rolls up to world champs in Trondheim and wins all 6 races, like a big part of that is because he's finally like actually tapering a little bit and
Yeah.
like not training like crazy. So, but I think like a pretty like easy strategy that a lot of World Cup skiers use is just to, oh shoot, I'm getting a call. I'm gonna later, mom. Sorry. The basically the structure of the World Cup is like we do 3 weekends of racing, where you do 3 races each week, and then maybe you get like a week or two off. So like you can try during those off weeks as much as you can. During the Christmas break, a lot of skiers will like stay in Davos or somewhere at altitude where they can try to get a nice block of like before the Tour de Ski. But like honestly, a lot of the favorites will just usually skip a few weekends of World Cup just so that they can like build some type of solid training block in like, January or something. Like the truth is how good or talented you are. Like it's impossible to just be doing 12 with 3 races ever like stay in good shape from November to February. Like if you don't take some block to like actually train, you're gonna just get progressively more out of shape. So,
Right.
yeah, I guess my plan is to try to show up in really good shape, peaking all will, and then hopefully try to find some play time in like January to have a training block to sort of build back up a bit.
Yeah, and so what was it like racing at Home World Cup in Minnesota 2 seasons ago?
Oh yeah, dude, that was sick. I mean, by far the coolest experience I've ever had in cross country skiing, and believe it or not, like that was another situation a little bit like my freshman year where my freshman year, like I said, I was like so sure I was going to make World Juniors, and that was like the thing that was in my head all summer and fall. and same for that year. Like I was so sure that I was going to qualify for the Minneapolis World Cup because I was like, you know, I'm racing on the World Cup starts, and here in Minneapolis we get I think 15 starts. So like for sure I'm going to be there. That'll be sick. But like I had a really bad start to the season that year. Like December and January were just absolutely horrible, and there was like a pretty solid period of time where it was looking like I wasn't even going to qualify to race in Minneapolis, and like that was just like a situation that was like so hard to grapple with. Of like, here's the home World Cup, like truly home World Cup. Like I live 10 minutes away, and so the idea of like not qualifying was like really eating at me in January. But luckily, I had like a one shot, one opportunity situation. It was like a sprint in Germany where it was like literally if you qualify in this sprint, you're going to Minneapolis, and if you don't, going. And I qualified like 29th. So, you know, literally made the Minneapolis World Cup by probably like 1/10 of a second. And then, yeah, luckily in Minneapolis too, like was able to pull out one of my best races of the entire season. Like it was a skate sprint, and it's to this date the only World Cup sprint that I qualified for. So it was so cool that I could like actually do that on my home course. And I think that's probably a part of it so well too, is because I was able to just sort of slot into the, like, I don't know, there's just something about skiing on your home course where you've done so many hours and so many workouts. Like I feel like I just was super relaxed and skiing super smooth, and was able to just like really bring out my best on that day. Sickest things about that race too was that I started with bib number 1. So
Yeah, I remember
in the
that.
qualifying, like I was the first. Yeah, it was so cool. Like obviously was so nervous looking at the start list and seeing like, oh shit, like I'm the first guy to go out. But it was so cool because I feel like you got that experience of like everyone you ski by is like, oh, like here come the guys, like look. And so like I feel like everybody was just like watching so intently and like giving their loudest cheers. And then also just having so many like, you know, friends from home, like coaches who I grew up skiing with, and teammates who were out watching, like family. It was just like such a cool experience, and like something that I probably, even if I make the Olympics this year or pretty much anything else in the rest of my career, like I don't know if it'll top Minneapolis, to be honest.
Yeah, that was such a cool experience. I mean, I have like all the posters of all the US like skiers on my room at home on my wall. And then
Oh, sick.
I got to go to Minneapolis and see a lot of you guys in person racing, and even like watching Claybo race too. It was like my brother's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, there's Zach, there's Rosie, there's Gus, like there's Jesse." Like when you guys came out, cheers were so loud. It was such a cool experience. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's sick you were there. I mean, also just like the fact that Gus won the 10K, I
Yeah,
feel like was
that was
just
awesome.
miracle on ice vibes, you know?
Yeah, it was. I mean,
So I feel like, you know,
I was on the top of the like that super steep hill before you kind of come down, like down the hill over the bridge, and when he
at the
was
like uh Park Hill.
yes, yeah. So when he was warming up, I was talking to my dad. It was like, oh, something's gonna happen here. Nobody looks like him right now when he was warming up. There's something, you could see it. It was so cool. And then when he was racing, it was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be crazy. And
Oh
then
yeah.
when Claybo came across, and like he was, I can't remember how far back he was, but when he came across, then everyone was like, okay, Gus has got it. This is he's set. And it was so cool. Everyone was cheering. It was so loud. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that there were so many like young skiers in attendance to see that, because I hope like an experience like that makes a lot like a new generation really fired up on cross country skiing, because like prior to Minneapolis, like you could watch World Cup on TV, but you never got that sense of like skiing is a cool sport until you actually go and watch one live. So I think that hopefully that was really big for the sport, and it sounds like there's going to be another one in Minneapolis in 2028. So,
Oh, that's
you
so
know,
cool.
maybe that should be on your radar to be, you know, skiing there. You never know.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I isn't there a there's I think there's World Cross Country Skiing World Cup and Biathlon World Cup at Lake Placid this year, right?
Yep, the World Cup finals are like I think the last 3 races are in Placid
Yeah,
in like March.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, you also got to
That'll
race
be cool. I yeah.
you also got to race at World Championships last year. How was
Yep.
that?
It was cool. I mean, I would say the atmosphere was like similar to Minneapolis in terms of just like the sheer number of fans and how loud they were and stuff, but like it doesn't really hit the same as Minneapolis because they're primarily there to like hype up the Norwegians, you know. Um, but like it was still super sick. Like uh, I actually lived in Trondheim for one summer, like 2 years ago, so it was kind of fun because it was like a little bit of a home course. You know, I'd never really skied there in the winter, but they have like a really sick roller ski track where I put in a bunch of hours that summer. So it was cool because it was like a familiar place. And then I also had like Julie's family was there, and a lot of like her friends and stuff. So that was cool. But I wasn't like super happy with any of my races or anything. Like I don't think there was anything crazy, but like I'd say the best was probably the 10K Classic. Like I started the race like just a bat out of hell. Like I think the first like 7 out of 10K, I was like sitting in the top 10,
Yeah, I
and then
remember that.
somehow just like absolutely shat the bed in the last 3K and moved up to like 28th. But that was one of those moments where you like look at the splits after the race and you're like, oh wow, like I did not realize that things were going like that well, and it gives you like a little bit of that, like optimism for the future of like, if I can ski that pace 10K, like maybe I can, like that's not that much of the race left. So like I feel like that was a really encouraging like experience to be at a race where like everybody's peaking and trying to like nail their best form and to like keep the pace for that. It gave me hope for the future, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, World Championships was really cool. Now I remember that 10K. It was really snowy, and I remember watching it in class. It was like 9 in the morning here or something, and seeing you come through some of those check marks, and it was just green. Like when you'd come through, I was like, okay, here we go. Let's have a day. It was really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks, dude. No, it was cool. I think I got a lot of people's hopes up, maybe like artificially, but it ended up being okay.
Yeah, so you have been training in Norway this summer. How's that been going, and how does that really compare to training in the summer in the U.S.?
Yeah, so my wife is Norwegian for those who don't know. So for me to live in Norway this summer was like a really easier transition, I guess, than it would be for someone who doesn't have that type of connection. So we just rented a place up by Holmenkollen and have basically been there, from June 1st until I came here. So I'm also on Team Berkey, which is based in Minneapolis, and like Minneapolis is still my favorite place in the world. I absolutely love training there, but I just felt like I really wanted to try to put myself in like a new environment where I can be a little bit more challenged, and especially try to like train with a lot of other skiers who are better than me basically. Like I feel like Oslo is just this really big hub where you have so many guys who have World Cup wins, World Cup podiums, or guys who like never get to race World Cup because Norway is so competitive, but they're still so freaking good. So to be able to live there and like train with those guys pretty regularly has been like a really big opportunity for me to learn just by talking to them about training and skiing behind them and learning about technique, and also just training in like Holmenkollen on the roller ski track there, which is just a pretty insane, scene, even compared to like Cable, which is a really awesome roller ski track. Like to be able to ski on like a world championship course in the summer and do stuff. I think it's just like opened a lot of new doors for me and also just challenged me in a way that like has definitely brought out the best in me. So definitely still looking forward to being in Minneapolis this fall, just because I really missed home and missed Team Berkey. But like I feel like those 3 months I did in Norway have like unlocked a new level in me, at least so far. Like I raced in Toppidrettsveka, which is a really big summer roller ski race series. And I had some of my like best races there that I've ever had in my life. Granted, it's like just roller skiing, but I felt like I had sort of figured some things out, and it felt like the training was really working. Yeah, it was an encouraging sign for the winter. We'll see if I can keep it going, but it feels like things have been really working in Norway so far, and it's a really just like nice place too. Like it's a beautiful country. Everybody's really nice, and just like the running and roller skiing and stuff there is so good.
Yeah, I mean it. So what I've seen on your social media, it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like you've gotten to see some cool people and have some cool opportunities.
Yeah, it's fun. And I mean, luckily, like Julie's family is so supportive of me too, and they live just like an hour away from where we were renting our place in Oslo. So that was pretty fun too. Like on a lot of the long weekends, we would just go spend 3 days with her family at her house where she grew up, which is like this really beautiful place in southern Norway, right on the ocean, where you can, like swim in the ocean and just soak up the sun. And yeah, it was just a super wholesome, like good vibe with Julie's family there too.
That's so cool. Um, so you also started doing some YouTube videos this summer. Um, what made you start doing that?
um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it all started when I bought like a camera. Like, I don't know. I've always been really into technology. Like, I always like to stay up to date on like the newest iPhones and the newest Garmin watches, and sort of like a lot of my like most in YouTube channels are like reviewing tech stuff. So like I saved up some money and bought a new camera at the end of the World Cup season, and like initially was getting really into photography. Like um, at Spring Series, I was trying to take a bunch of pictures of like skiers during the races, and in Minneapolis, like doing some street photography and stuff like that. But then I just started to like play around a little bit with like the video capabilities of the camera, and I think just like started to think like, wow, like what if I just recorded myself and made a vlog, and was just, yeah, I guess like looking for something to do with the videos that I had been taking. And yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe I should just make a vlog, because I really enjoyed watching like Ben Ogden's vlog, your vlog, Claybo's vlog. There's like so many, not so many, but there's other good skiers who have like a really fun and entertaining vlog. So I figured it would be like fun to throw my hat in the ring and see how it goes. And yeah, it's been super fun. I feel like it's like a big part of it too is just having something to do, like with the editing and the filming and stuff. Like, I don't know if you relate to this at all, but I feel like in World Cup especially, like days can get so long and so boring when you're just like waiting to race, and it just feels like there's nothing to do except like sit on Instagram reels. So it was really nice for me to have this thing to spend my time on, which is like editing the videos and doing all this stuff, instead of just like cooking my brain away watching YouTube and Instagram reels.
Yeah, I mean, I have I started doing videos because like when I was younger with my brother and some of my neighbors, I did like the iMovie stuff, and I've been into videos since then.
Oh, nice.
And I wanted to document my junior year, just to see, because I know for many junior skiers, your junior year is a year that you start to get, you have some results that you start to get seen, you start to meet coaches and all that. And my junior year was not a good year. I got sinus infection midway through the season. I was sick a couple different times, and it just wasn't really going the way I wanted to. But it was really nice to, and I was kind of in a little, I didn't have a great mental game. I was really kind of negatively self-talking and wasn't really helping myself get better. And I think partially when you can, like, when you get to the start line and you have a little bit of the pre-race anxiety or the nerves or whatever, you take a minute, take out the camera, you can say like, look where we are, look at the opportunity we have, we're gonna go race on some snow, it's gonna be fun. And you can kind of like step back from like the seriousness of it, and it can help you like relax a little. And it's been a lot of fun doing it. And the editing, it's one of my favorite parts of it too. So getting to sit there and look at my technique, which is partially why I started. I want to get better technique, so I started doing more video. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I've had a ton of fun watching yours, because it just like brings me back to when I was your age, and like, especially when I watch those like videos of you doing those camps up in the Northwoods where like you have a couple of your buddies staying at your house and you just go and do the like time trials on the Northwoods roads, and like, running in the woods and stuff. Like, I feel like I just can so vividly remember like doing the exact same thing when I was your age. It's like, yeah, like racing World Cup and stuff is cool, and it's fun to try to like reach the highest level of skiing. But that's still like probably the memories of my career that I look back on the most fondly is just like messing around with my buddies in like Hayward and stuff.
Yeah. So, kind of on the note of the YouTube, do you think it has had more of a positive or negative or neutral impact on your training? Do you think it has had any play on it?
I think like mostly positive, honestly, just because like a big part of um like getting over the initial like social anxiety of like posting videos of yourself talking was like a big thing for me. Like I feel like I'm a generally social person, but like there's something so weird about like initially just recording yourself talking into the camera and like getting used to that, and then also getting over that fear of like, man, what if I like put this out and people think it's cringe and like judge me, and like, oh, like Zach's making all these videos and he only has like 300 subscribers, like, oh, this is so stupid. But like I just sort of like tried to remove the like external factors from it and just do it because like I thought it was really fun, and it was just like something that I've always wanted to do, so like kind of screw everything else, I guess. And so I think that's like been one of the surprising benefits of it, is just I feel like it's lowered a little bit of my like social anxiety barrier just by like having to talk so much and film in public and do all this stuff. Like I find myself just like when I'm at the grocery store now, like having more of those like random interactions where you like see some guy and you're like, hey, nice shirt, dude, or like, just like talk to the cashier or something. So like I feel like it's just made me a little bit more of a person, which is nice. And then also yeah, like the biggest thing is it just gives me something to like focus on outside of training that's not just like uh you know like I said, just sitting on Instagram reels or something, because like I feel like I've never had like a job when I have been a pro skier, which is like a good and a bad thing. Like I'm thankful that I don't have to have like some job where I'm on my feet all day like in between training, but at the same time I feel like I've not had that thing that I can like pour energy into outside of training and skiing. So it's been nice to like have a sort of side hustle, to like take up some of that stray energy that maybe in the past I would just sit there and like stress about how tired I am or if my training's going well or something. Like now I'm just editing and doing the whole YouTube thing. So I would say like maybe the places where it's been hard is if you have like a bad week, like say you get sick or you just have like a really shitty week of training and you like don't really feel like it's obviously fun to share when things are going really well and like have it be really positive and stuff. But I'm curious when I hit that first like really rough patch, if like say I have some really bad races in the winter, or I get sick or injured or something like that, then I think it maybe will be a little more tough to be like super raw and open and real with your audience with like about how you're struggling and things aren't going super well, and maybe you're just like not in the mood to film yourself when that's happening. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I guess you said you had a little bit of that with like your junior year, so like how was that for you?
Honestly, like during the season, I was very full of myself. I thought I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, six males are going to JNs in the U18. I'm like easily fourth, maybe fifth. Like I got that. And then after each race, it was like, okay, that's not a good result, but we got the next one. And then I'd look back at the technique and I was like, that's not terrible. And then week and week would go by and I'd be like, okay, technique's not getting, okay, that's not looking too great. And I kind of kept that stuff to myself about how I was feeling about my technique, and I tried to just keep pumping out the videos as like a distraction, from the mental poor races personally feeling about it. But
Mm.
I think that like my senior year, I really flipped a switch on like focusing more on process and beating the you from yesterday, not so much about like, yeah, just like, I mean, I watched Ted Lasso after that season, which I don't know if you've seen that show, but it's got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of great messages, and I've carried a lot of that with me. And I think it was just during that season, you have to like putting on the smile and talking to the camera for a little bit to try and be optimistic helps the mental side of it a little bit. But it's a unique thing sharing all your thoughts. Like at JN's this past year, I didn't have a great sprint qualifier, and I took like 5 takes of like how did that race go? I was like, yeah, this is way too negative. This is way too whatever. And I was like, okay, this one's neutral enough that they know I'm not pleased with it, but we move on. So it's a tricky balance.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I feel like part of it too is just like, yeah, like ideally you're not wrapping up so much of your self-worth and identity with like your results too. So like, I guess a good goal would be like if you do have a bad stretch of races or even like a shitty season, like, um, yeah, like there's nothing that says just because you're racing badly, like you have to be depressed and be like a totally different person and mope. Like that's I think something that's been fun about the YouTube too is to try to like show your personality and like the person you are outside of just skiing and training and racing, so that people know like, okay, yeah, Zach is like he's not a skier, he's like a guy who skis.
Yep.
And so like we're not just watching necessarily to like watch the Zach training content, and like of course that's maybe like the main thing, but like also hopefully people are like, oh yeah, he's like a pretty funny guy and like seems like a good dude, and like that's not going to change whether he's racing fast or not, you know, like he's still like Zach the person. So yeah, it's a hard thing when you're like on World Cup or like you in college, and like so much of every day is like spent trying to like become a fast skier and to like optimize everything. But like I think it definitely just does come back to like, you know, you aren't just a skier, and like even if you are a World Cup skier one day, like there's still so much about you that's not like the skier.
Yeah, like I've found that in my first couple videos, I was strictly focusing on racing, and now I've tried to get more like of the life bits. Like in some of my summer vlogs, I was doing more of like, okay, what are we doing? And it's just like random stuff, and usually it ends up being like either dumb, stupid, or funny. And then it's like my mom will, she'll watch it and she'll text me or she'll talk to me about it. She's like, my new favorite character is whoever, and I'm like, yeah, yep. She's like, oh, that one part when you guys were doing like you were, I don't even know, you're messing around like I think my friend Jonah and I like were trying to fix my shoelace, and now I've got a couple friends that are like, this dude doesn't know how to tie his shoes, and I'm like, yep, this is like it's cool to show who you are outside of, like you said, the skier. Like there's so much more to each person, and trying to see behind, like especially like for you when you start making some videos during the World Cup, like if you have a bad race, getting the breakdown for what you are feeling and thinking, and then what does the rest of your day look like after that? Like, do you just sit there and kind of overthink it and mope about it, or do you go distract yourself, do something fun? Like, it's not, you don't have to pour all your energy into the negative side of things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is funny too, like watching your vlog and like you said, like seeing some of those dudes who I've never like met or anything, and just how funny they can be. Like, it's funny in life. I feel like there's so many just like characters who are like actually so funny if you give them a platform. Like, I'm looking forward to that for sure on World Cup, and once I'm like around more of those teammates, it's just like showing off how like funny and goofy like some of the guys are. So
Yeah.
I think that's like definitely a fun aspect of it too.
All right, I'll let you get back to your day. So I'll give you one more question, just so everyone knows kind of where you're at right now. What are your goals for the upcoming season, and what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I guess my one big like outcome goal is to qualify for the Olympics. Just because that's been a goal of mine since I was a kid. Like, especially being from the U.S., it's kind of like always been the big thing. Is like, oh, are you going to make the Olympics? And being able to represent your country at something like that just is such a cool idea to me. But honestly, I think like more than anything, just trying to have fun, be, you know, have a year where I feel like I'm actually really enjoying myself and able to like handle the ups and downs without getting super down, or, you know, like not have these super high highs or super low lows, like just be able to really stay like focused on the process and stay sort of like locked into trying to, like you said, beat my former self. Like, I think it's easy sometimes, especially like on the US or something, like the first thing you look at when you see a results list is like, oh, how did I do compared to the other Americans or something? And that's just like such a toxic like headspace to be in. Like, I think the first thing you should be asking yourself is like, did I do my best? Are there things I feel like I could have done better? Or like, did I at least try my hardest? And like I feel like if you did everything within your power to have your best day, and like the result isn't what you hoped it is, then like there's really nothing you can feel bad about, you know? Like, yeah, it sounds so cliche, but like you can only do your best kind of. So I feel like rather than sort of, like, of course I want to make the Olympics, but rather than like spit off all these, like, I want to be top 10, I want to do this, like, I feel like I want to just like roll up to every race and feel like whether it's a time trial in November or whether it's like the Olympics, like I want to just do that race and feel like I actually like tried my hardest and did everything I could, and like the result will be what it is, kind of.
Yeah, that's a great bit of advice, and thank you for sharing. This has been awesome. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate it. So I'll let you get back to altitude training, and I look forward to watching you this upcoming season.
Yeah, I look forward to watching you too, dude. I think CCSA will be treating you well, and excited to see the vlogs from those races and stuff, so I can like keep living vicariously through you, you know?
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. I will catch you later. That's a wrap on the interview with Zach. Thank you everybody for watching. And let me know down in the comments below if you want to see more interviews, what type of content you want to see with the ski team, and whatever else you guys want to see in my videos coming up. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and see you guys in the next video.